Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Hand Mojo. They have just released a fantastic new track. It is called Kiss My Baby Goodnight, and I am very excited to talk to them all about it. Guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your days to be here. How are you? What's going on?
You're doing great. Thanks, Austin. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thanks for
you.
thanks for having us. So happy to be here, and I'm doing it. So
Nice. Well, like I said, before we started recording, the song is awesome. And truly, like I probably listened to it 5 or 6 times at this point, and I really enjoy it. And before I get into it, I just want to make the recommendation for everyone who's going to listen to put a nice pair of headphones on when you listen to this thing, because there's so much going on instrumentally, and I wouldn't
Hmm.
want you to miss out on anything. But
Well, that's
with that
nice.
being said, let's kick it off with what this song is about, what inspired it, and yeah, I want to hear all about it.
the song itself started out during the rehearsal right behind me here.
Cool.
Like we kind of straggle in and get our stuff. Usually it's Mark and I are first, and then Mark will get set up and go about our ways. Scott and I were just messing around, really, to be honest with you, with the opening riff
That's the
for the
drummer.
guitar. Yep,
Sure.
Scott's the drummer. Yep. And so we're just kind of messing around. And like a lot of the stuff happens nowadays is that as guys come in, we kind of start jamming together. Uh, One of the cool things about this band is that really, to be honest, you can throw anything out there, and at a certain point, the other guys will just start to pick up and off we go and see where it goes.
That's nice.
When Chuck showed up and James was there jamming with us, and then when Chuck showed up, he started phonetically working out, "Kiss My Baby Goodnight," or he's actually "Kiss My Baby Tonight." The name "Kiss
Okay,
My
we got
Baby
a
Good."
nice little switch.
Yep. So the that's another funny story. The name is actually a typo on my part because I thought I misheard a conversation when we registered it, right?
Sure, sure.
So and in my defense, Mark does say good night at the end of the show when we play it.
The live
We
show, we
Good
end the
enough.
set with it. So right in that one little spot that's empty, I go, good night. So he
There you
thought
go.
that was the song, Kiss My Baby Goodnight.
And then it
yeah,
ties everything
It just
together.
kind of
No
worked.
it
one's
does.
confused.
Yeah, it's just
I
good
love
fun.
that.
It's just good fun rock and roll. The cool part too is the organ part of the beginning. Q messed around almost immediately as we started to work it up.
Sure.
Literally, this whole thing came together 10 minutes.
Are you
Q, would you
Yeah,
serious?
say roughly
other
the
than
rough
the
shape? Yeah,
lyrics. The
yeah, the
lyrics
rough
took a
shape.
while because Chuck and Vern write the majority of the lyrics. Chuck probably more than Vern because he's got to sing them. So he does the lyrics. So the lyrics didn't come along for a little while, but the music itself just kind of fell into place. I
Okay.
had this ELP Boston type organ lick that just fit with
Yeah.
what Vern was doing with his guitar, the ZZ Top type stuff, and Scotty the drummer is kind of an '80s metal journey type drummer. So the whole thing
Okay.
just went together. And then the middle lick in the song it just was very Zeppelin. I think that was might have been
Totally.
James that put
It was
that in.
James had the bass riff, and then
Yeah.
during the process we're talking, I'm like, that's got to be Zeppelin. So we kind of gave Scott some ideas on what we'd like to do, and Bonamy, kind of thing in
Yeah, a
there.
little
Of
halftime stuff.
course.
So we just threw all these ideas into the song, and it just worked, which is pretty
No,
cool.
I'm so happy you brought that up because, like, and I have it in my notes here. All these different inspirations and influences that come together right at the beginning, like within 15 seconds, the listener is just thrown into the song in the deep end. Like, you don't give them a second to breathe, which, in my opinion, is like the best thing that you can do for grabbing attention when no one has attention spans these
Yeah,
days. You
Sorry,
know what
what
I'm
were you
saying?
saying? I'm sorry.
yeah.
What were you saying?
Exactly.
There's a fly in here.
Right, for real. And the Boston influence comes through right at the beginning, but then as it happens and it shape shifts and the song opens up, like it's like you're at the end of a tunnel and then you come in and everything begins. It's such a nice like refresher, I guess.
That's really
And
cool. That's
Oh,
a
that's
great
that's very
description.
yeah,
kind.
where I'm going with this ego pumping rant is basically like um you've got all these influences and there's different styles and genres. How are you advertising this? Like, how are you explaining to people this is the type of music we
Hmm.
and there's no right
So
answers, and there's yeah, and you can expand how you like.
so this has been a constant conversation since we started because we're kind of hard to put in a single box,
Sure.
right? the first recordings we did, it was a little bit swampier, bluesier. So we kind of started, swampy, bluesy, chicken fried, classic rock. It was kind of the idea, right?
Sure.
This stuff is developed differently. This is a lot more. This stuff came organically, a lot of it to the band, and so it changes, as we progress and whatnot. And so I like Midwest classic rock. The problem is that's confusing for a lot of folks, right? Because it's new music, right? So we kind of, we say it's new Midwest classic rock, with a party vibe is kind of the type of thing.
I mean, yeah, that kind of checks all the boxes there. Truly,
it
does.
Yeah, the word classic rock, you immediately think, oh, these guys are from the '80s. Well, we might have lived through the '80s, but the songs are current.
Right.
I've been with Mojo for 5 years now, which amazes me once I look at it. I didn't realize that much time has gone through since I first started jamming.
Sure.
I was playing in another band with Vern, and he mentioned Mojo and just said they were looking for a keyboard player. And I looked around. I said, I think I might know one. I can come by. So I went over there, and I haven't left yet.
There you go. They dragged you in. I love that. Yeah, and when I hear classic rock nowadays, like, it definitely has a connotation of what to expect. But I think a lot of music that's being made nowadays is trying to pull on the classic nostalgic vibes, because that's what a lot of music is doing now. And what you've done here is you've obviously taken that, but you've brought a ton of modern elements to it. It's a song that easily could have been released 40 years ago or today, and you kind of capture a similar audience. Don't know if that's what you were going for, but I think it kind of worked out in your favor, I would say.
I don't know that we approach it with any kind of audience in mind one way or the other. So, I mean, we all of us guys write songs, and all of us have been doing it for a while. And so, what's funny to me is I always have that same thing, like, geez, I'm always amazed that when somebody goes, oh, I really like that. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. Right. But I'm always surprised, right. Because I don't know that we ever set out to do it a certain way or whatnot. And like I say, it's mostly just happy coincidence. Part of it is finding the right guys. Part of it is, we all have similar but dissimilar tastes and backgrounds as well.
Sure.
We're not terribly far apart in age, any of us, right? And influences and that type of stuff. So it really helps. That's the cool part about being in a band, though, right? Is
totally,
the changes that happen because of that. So, but yeah, I don't know that we've ever gone out and tried to figure out a demographic or whatnot.
Yeah, tried to pinpoint who we're trying to talk to. What's interesting for me working with Secondhand Mojo is Vern writes in a very different style than what I've done almost all my whole life with my other projects. But what it made me do is revisit my Hammond organ roots.
Sure.
And more rock piano, because a lot of my material is more progressive and big productions and even Broadway style of rock. And then playing with Vern and the guys in Mojo, kind of scaled back the amount of different sounds that I use, but it actually advanced my playing techniques. I actually started looking into more people online that were basically Hammond organ players, like Lacey Doley, and I watched how they played, and I realized I could play those things, but I didn't use those chops. So in the 5 years since I've been involved with Mojo, I have to say that my playing technique has changed, but it's advanced. And now I'm able to use some of the things that I've developed playing with Vern on my other projects too. So I feel much more well-rounded player now than I was 5 years ago. And I thought I was pretty good 5 years ago, but now I'm going, yeah, not bad.
But you're always learning, you're always adjusting and trying new things. And I really think at the end of the day, and I'm happy that you brought this up, it's like, you're not trying to please a certain type of person. You're spending the time and energy to make the music that you want to make, the music that you'd probably want to listen to in the car. And if people happen to like that, then great. But if not, like, you're going to find your audience no matter what. I really enjoy that.
I think that's the only way you can stay happy in this business. If you're in this business to, I don't know, to become famous, I guess, or
I agree. It's manufactured music.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever be happy because you can't chase a musical fad. You'll never catch up because it's always ahead of you. But if you're just being you, playing what, like you said, what you want to do and who you want to be, you'll find the people that respond to your music, and the ones that don't, you just say, that's all right. There's plenty of stuff out there, but the ones that do respond to you, all of a sudden you've got a connection with somebody that you didn't have before this song came out.
Absolutely. And having so many members who have different, preferences of music, if you all listen to the same exact music, you would never grow and experiment and try new things. You'd just be making the same song over and over and over again, which is kind of boring. So maybe
Yeah,
a good, maybe a good thing that you have all this
Well,
knowledge.
this next EP has quite a range of
it's
types of
it's
songs.
it's very diverse, especially considering our first recording.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I didn't want to bring that up, but maybe we can talk about it just a little bit. And you don't even
sure.
need to talk about the specifics. In terms of sound and experimentation and exploring new avenues, what can people expect in a way?
Um, there's some different styles in it. There's a
Okay.
one song that's kind of like I consider it like a early '60s R&B kind of vibe,
Sure.
Like
right?
Motown, almost
Yeah,
Motown.
yep. And then there's the one that's coming up. Our next single that's coming up, right, is got a different style of keyboard intro than some of the other stuff we would do. And I don't know how I would describe that one. It's got a little bit of Beach Boys in it. It's got just a hint of proggy stuff. There's a little bit of kind of bluesy stuff in there. There's the next one has a whole bunch of stuff in it as well.
Okay.
Little Beatles-esque,
Yep,
you
yep.
know.
There's Beatles stuff.
Yeah, but we've
Nice.
tried a variety of different things, and we just keep coming up with these ideas that the different members present to the band, and we find ones that work, and we're pretty good at throwing out the ones that don't do anything for us because we
Yeah.
play for a
You
while
know
and
what?
go, no,
Hey,
that's terrible. I
it's
don't want to
it's
play for
tough to be
somebody.
honest with yourself sometimes.
Well, and especially if it's somebody else's idea, or even hearing it if it's
Yeah.
your idea, right? So, you know, that's a difficult part of the learning process when you start a band is, how far can you be honest, or what type of honesty can you deal with, or whatnot.
Sure.
And I don't know that I can't say there's ever been any ugliness around the songwriting stuff.
Sure.
What's the hard part in a lot of ways is going, all right, picking which ones actually go forward on the recording, or which ones do we play live, or which ones are we going to
Exactly.
include? Because, when we first started out, we had, here's this handful full of songs that are just the songs, right? And as you continue to progress and write, which we do on a regular basis, right? By accident, a lot of times we write, which is great.
Sure.
But you want to build that catalog up. The idea was to build that catalog up, so you would have to make hard decisions, right? Because if it's easy
Yeah.
decisions, you're not writing enough good songs.
I fully
You know?
agree. I also
Mhm.
think that you have to keep in mind of like if you're going to create a record, no matter if it's an EP or a full length, to
Mm-hmm.
keep things cohesive in a way, and it has to flow a certain way, and you can't have too many outliers without it being like, oh, well, this is supposed to be the single, and then everything
Yeah.
else is just
Everything else is a B side. You got one A
Yeah.
side, you got 5 B sides. You just got
Sure.
exact. No, it's
Yep.
true, and I the average music listener might not realize it, but you gotta give them credit, and they might know.
It's
So
the Glenn Johns thing. You know what I mean?
totally,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
which is funny because I was just having this conversation with a different person, non-music industry people. One of the things that we benefit from growing up when we did is that we were at the tail end of when everything was singles, and then
Sure.
we came through the thematic and concept albums to where it's now back to singles again.
Right.
But
Right.
I'll be honest with you. One of the things that I dug back in those days, and this is where I'm going to do the thing where I end up going, now get off my lawn when we're done with this, the old guy stuff.
Sure.
Is that when I was a kid, you waited for the albums to come out. You knew they were coming, right? So you could hold that thing and the cover art, and you could listen to it. It was designed to listen from end to end. And I'm a huge Pink Floyd guy. I'm a big, I'm a big Frank Zappa guy. Same kind of thing, right? In a lot of cases. So
Totally.
the Doors, the Moody Blue, all that fun stuff. They all kind of had a running theme through that stuff, and obviously Zeppelin, right? Had a similar process, but that was the whole experience, and that's something that I like. So I absolutely love it when you listen to this and that, and it's related. It doesn't have to be note for note completely. It would be great to do a concept album sometime where it's actually like that. It's more like an orchestral piece, but geez,
Totally.
that sure seems like an awful lot of work because
Yeah.
with the mixing and the craziness and whatnot. I'm a big Rush fan too, which that was their whole career was that way, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, I fully agree. And listen, maybe it's something you can work on in the future, keep it in the back burner. But I understand that it's like, yeah, you only have so much time in the day to make it
Well,
work.
and also there's only so many avenues to release a project like that.
Sure.
Terrestrial radio won't take it. So you
Yeah.
have to hope that something on what iHeart or you know, of course you could release it on Spotify, but getting
Sure.
found on Spotify is like a pebble in the ocean.
Sure.
So that's a tough sell, is to try. You could have all these grandiose themes and ideas in your head, but just
Sure.
to spend the time and money and energy and put it together and then not know what to do with it. That's frustrating for a lot of modern artists. Back when I first started out, there was only so many places available, and that's where your music went. Now it's an ocean. It's a world that can stream anything at any time. And so trying to raise your voice above that, you know, cacophony is tough. And that would be the tough part about a concept album.
I
You know, I'm a
fully
big
agree.
Alan Parsons fan, and I love
Sure.
his type of production. You know, I would love to have him involved with the music that we make and get an ear like that to take our music from the level we doing it with and see if it can be upped another step or two. But you know, will that ever work? Who knows? But we're not going to stop.
Oh,
You
no,
know,
no,
we'll
of
keep
course
doing
not. And again, it goes back to you got to do what makes you happy and keep creating, and you know you've got everything behind you, so you can make it work.
There you go. Yeah, if you need keyboard,
Exactly.
give me a call.
I want to get into more of your live shows. I know that you've been playing a lot, getting out there, and obviously staying very busy. What does it look like? Is it all originals? Do you have any covers? Like, what does the set list look like?
So if we're headlining, right, it depends on the length of the show too. That's the other thing too. Like this one coming up, the one we just did was a 2 hour show. That's a
2
long
hours.
show.
It's a hell of a show. Damn.
Yeah, yeah. We're about to do
Seriously.
another 2 hour show on Saturday,
Wow.
and so that one has a couple of covers in it. And part of it is that like the show we're getting ready to do, we could get away with playing just our stuff and be that would be a little bit shorter than 2
Because they
hours.
know
But
us.
Yeah.
yeah, we've done well down in Toledo and stuff. This
Okay.
particular place, people turn out. It's kind of central to everybody where we can get people there. Some of the other places where they don't know us, covers are kind of helpful here and there. We're not a cover band. We do, what is it, 5 covers total, I think we have in our
Max.
repertoire. Yeah. You know, and usually we don't do all 5 in the same show, right?
Oh,
it's,
yeah, no, I figured.
yeah. But if you come see us, you're going to hear everything that's recorded, right? And the stuff that's coming out and the stuff that isn't, right? It's been released previously, and a bunch of stuff that we've actually that have been a staple of the live show that really got eliminated from this project, this recording project, because the new stuff that we wrote together, we were super excited about, and it flowed really nicely, and it was fun to play. And some of the other stuff we've been playing forever, right? So they're just nice show fillers, but it fits with the theme of what we do.
I understand.
But you saw the video, right? That essentially is a pretty good representation of what we're like live. Chuck's, you know, the ball of energy.
Sure.
The only difference is, and I mentioned this in the last interview we did, said, if you come see us, you got to see it just to believe it. Chuck is all over the place. Q is a show unto himself, right? You just got to see it to play. He plays underneath the keyboard behind his back, and
Awesome.
you know, it was disorienting when it first happened because we played together with David Winans, and you really didn't do that because we played on some really small stages with Winans, right?
Sure.
You know, at the time, so there wasn't room to do that. But the first time we played in what was the Ottawa Club, or is that one when we played with the Live Bullet? Yeah. So anyway, next I look over, and I used to stand on that side of the stage. I look over, and all of a sudden he's gone, but there's still noise, and I'm like, where'd he go? You know. So
they hadn't seen my live show like that, and I get a little excited, and I enjoy playing a lot.
Of course.
I like going underneath. I spent my life doing back bends and doing all this fun stuff. I'm slowed down a little bit now because I've an issue with one of my knees, but that's not from playing. It's from a different thing. And so that's slowly getting back up. But in the meantime, that doesn't stop me. My wife says, how come you're still doing all that stuff? You know, your knees hurt. I said, well, it doesn't hurt when I'm playing.
Exactly. The adrenaline takes over. Exactly.
While I'm playing, it works.
That's what I'm happy to hear, because the energy of your music, I just can't imagine a live show of yours that wasn't like off the rails, pure energy, adrenaline. Like I would almost be upset to not feel like, yeah, we just get up there and it's pretty chill. No, balls to the wall music for 2 hours. That's what
and the reason that you put on that kind of a show is because people don't really know who we are yet.
Sure. You're always
we're
playing to someone new.
So you don't ever go at a show and think, well, I'm just going to relax. Every show is just like, this is the most important show we've done right now. And so it comes across like we don't put pull any punches, and we walk away dripping wet, and that's kind of what it is. You walk off stage going, oh my gosh.
Hey, I need a water.
Yes, please.
I have a couple more for you. I want to know, what does the rest of this year look like in terms of potential releases, more shows, or just anything that you're looking forward to?
Humble pie.
Yeah, so we have this show Saturday, and then the next bigger show for us is in September with Humble Pie.
Nice.
Yeah, and then November we have back-to-back shows, which are good too. We have Orianthi and Brother Kane.
Cool.
Right. Well, on one night, and then we play at Howard's Club. Do you know what Howard's Club in Bowling Green? Have you ever heard of that place?
I do not.
It is one of the oldest bars, music venues in that part of Ohio, right?
Wow.
And it's right by Bowling Green University. But releases, we're gonna. We were just talking about this yesterday. We're probably gonna set the next single out end of September, beginning of October.
Cool.
Right, we're gonna go actually shoot another video.
Nice.
Right, we're trying to work out the dates at the beginning of September. That was just a lot of fun. And in all honesty, I think we have a lot of fun when we play live, or when you're rehearsing or writing stuff like that. That's a different kind of fun, and it has a different vibe to it necessarily, right? Because you're trying to do something specific. But that was us just getting to be goofy and have fun and kind of try and represent the music a little bit. And man, we worked our butt off, and that was really hot that day too, in the studio even, right? And I just walked away from it going, man, that was just a lot of fun to do, right?
Yeah,
so this next one, we're going to try and outdo that and see what we do, and there'll be some surprises in that craziness, and so it should be pretty cool. And then I think we're gonna, after that one goes, I think we'll release the third single off the EP sometime in December, right? And then probably release EP at the beginning of the year, depending on that. I don't know if we want to release the EP by itself, or or if it's just going to be singles all the way along. Really, in all honesty, the response will dictate what we do next.
That's okay. Now, honestly, you have to kind of keep it loose in that realm and go by what you think is best at the time. Can't plan too much. Very cool.
There's a lot, and there's a lot to releasing too. You just
don't
want to overwhelm the public with who you are, but you want to keep their interest up for sure. So hopefully with each release, there'll be more and more people. The video on Kiss My Baby, in a course of 4 or 5 days, had over 40,000 views. I mean, we just went, huh? And that wasn't just me watching it over and over and over. That was somebody else,
Yeah, a lot of views right there.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks, and I think it's 65,000, 67,000, something like that.
And I don't want to say we're a nobody, but nobody really knows who we are outside of our small circle of friends, and we were
tough
very
to capture eyes.
humbled about that.
Yeah, it's an enlightening thing. Well, Gina, right? Has been helping guide us. So she the funny story about that is we met her through the Van Gogos. We played with them and a guy I went to junior high with.
Nice. Okay.
Right, he put the show together, and we ended up on the bill with those guys, and we hit it off. And they have a unique approach to it, and they were doing really well. And so we kind of asked questions, and Jason, the lead guitarist and kind of their leader,
I interviewed him.
Great guy, right? So that's it too. Those guys were a riot. They were super nice guys too. Like I said, we've had a string of the ones where you just go, wow, this has been an amazing bunch of people.
Totally.
They were, Brother Kane was that way. They were super friendly. But these guys came right on the heels of that, and we all kind of hit it off. And so we asked a bunch of questions, and they were free and open about it because they're a DIY band as well.
Sweet.
Right. And so that's how we kind of all hooked up there. But she's helped organize it, because the last one was kind of the last recording was kind of just by the seat of our pants a little bit, right? Because the music business had changed since the last time we did this. So
exactly.
And
we did the one release. We had the one single that came out right smack as the pandemic hit.
We released time. Well, actually, that was the EP key. We released the EP key on the 20th of January 2020, and on the 24th, the entire planet shut down.
Yeah, and we just went, well, so I guess we're not touring.
We could go over to each other's house, play outside while the other people looked in from the windows.
Do the live streams and all the. all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Well,
too
we
funny.
kept busy. We just kept doing what we were doing. We didn't stop. It was just
Yeah.
wasn't anywhere to play.
Yep. Well, thank God for Messenger and stuff and
Uh,
texting, you know what I mean? Because you were sending stuff back and forth. And
Exactly.
yeah, I will tell you this, what was really surprising to me about that, Q, is when we got together after everybody could kind of get back together. It was so cathartic to get a chance to just play together again.
Oh yeah.
But what was really surprising is we were way tighter than I thought we were going to be after not playing together for
That's
that long.
nice.
Yeah, so it was very, very cool. I still get a kick out of that.
It's a
So,
group of professional musicians.
Exactly.
I mean, we're all individuals and all have our own likes and paths that we follow,
Yeah.
but they're all professional. They're all good men in this band. That's what keeps it going. There are no prima donnas. It's just
There can't
everybody
be.
is pretty straightforward about what we're doing, and we don't agree on everything, but we don't disagree to a point where you walk out the door. So
Right.
that's cool, and
Yeah.
that's hard to do.
Love
It's
it.
hard to find a group of men that are that open to each other and to be respectful of each other. So it's
I
cool.
agree.
It's been a very cool experience for me.
I'm glad you found each other and you're still continuing to release. My last
I don't bowl.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is my bowling team, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Pretty
what else
much.
would I be doing? I'd rather spend my free
Much
time.
better than bowling. Much
Yeah,
better.
well, and you want to spend it with people you enjoy being around too. That's the other thing too.
Exactly.
That's so that's still going. And you said
I
5
agree.
years now, is it Q? Honestly?
Five, dude. I saw some Facebook memories. And it
Awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
5 years ago, and I go, what?
Love that.
It's just amazing. I mean, but time just keeps going faster and faster. That's what
I
it is.
know. Well, you got to
If it
enjoy
was-
it while it's going.
And if it was a chore, then it would have been done by now. And it's
Oh
not.
yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
My last question for both of you is it's basically for the person that is going to discover you from this. What is an opening message you'd like to say to them before they listen to your music for the first time?
Well, that's a great question.
That's a really good question.
I'll let you go first, Q. How about that?
I would just say, be prepared to be entertained. I just think you'll find something in our music that you will relate to and be comfortable with. That's one thing about Secondhand Mojo songs. Because of our influences and our history of playing, you'll hear the influences of hopefully music that you already like. And you'll find a song that goes, oh, I love that song. Oh, wait, I thought it was a different song. No, it's a Mojo song. And you'll go, you know what? I like this song because it reminds me of something that was pleasurable in your life. So I think just be ready to be entertained musically.
I would say something similar. It's funny because when people ask this question, my standard go-to is like, well, if you or your parents ever listened to rock and roll from like the 60s to now, right? We're going to sound vaguely familiar, right? And so there's something in there for you. That it's all inspired by the classic hits we grew up around, right? And so, and everybody's heard it. They're in commercials or this, so it's not like we're preaching new stuff to you, right? It's just we're kind of reminding you, hey, this is where we come from.
Sure.
That's where Secondhand Mojo comes from. The idea behind it is nobody's really inventing new classic rock, right? But or the blues or R&B, that stuff's been done. We're just taking
First-Hand Mojo broke up in the 70s. So
yeah, exactly.
bringing Second-Hand Mojo back so you can remember how
Exactly.
cool it was.
Yeah. When you see Third-Hand Mojo come out, they're going to be a tribute band for Secondhand
Exactly.
Mojo, right? Yeah,
There you
so,
go.
That's it. That'll be the tribute band for us.
Yeah.
Amazing.
yeah. So, but that's the idea. It's really, in all honesty, because we're all inspired by that. And you mentioned it right off the bat. It kind of drips out of us a little bit. You can't help but get an idea where we come from. So
Totally. I think those are two great answers and a perfect wrapping up point. I want to thank both of you so much for taking the time. And I also want to let everyone who's listening or watching to know that we're going to have the links in our articles that you can listen and share and follow along and obviously stay up to date because there's so much more on the way, whether it be new music or shows, just like stay in touch. I love
Absolutely.
this. I hope I've made myself very clear that I love this music. I can't
thank
wait
you.
to keep following along, and I just want to thank you both so much for taking the time. Really,
Thanks, Austin.
Thank
It
you.
means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you.
A ton. Can I ask you one question? I've started doing this in all these interviews now, and I get a kick out of it.
Let's go.
So one of the things we get all the time, and it's fun to me, is the different things people say who we sound like. And it's so wide ranged. It's amazing. I've actually started writing these down.
No, my
so-
first instantly within 10 seconds, I thought Boston. And then I even got a little yes from the progressive side of it. I would say Boston and yes.
That's awesome. Well,
I'm
I
sure you've
appreciate
heard
it, man.
that.
Actually, that's one of the probably more normalized ones. I told the other guy too last time. I said the last one we heard, the weirdest one I think we've heard so far is Huey Lewis and the News and Motley Crue.
I don't hear that, but you know what? We all interpret music differently.
That's the beauty, though, right? That's the
Exactly.
reason it's chemistry. But I'm
Yeah.
always interested to see what people think, right? You know?
I fully respect that answer, though.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I do too.
Awesome. All right, thank you both so
Hey,
much.
thank you very much.
Have an amazing rest of your day. Let's talk soon.
Absolutely.
All
Thanks,
right,
Austin.
bye-bye. Take care.